Welcome to Next.js. In this video, we'll learn about what is Prisma. So Prisma is basically an object relation model, which allows us to interact with our database in more intuitive and secure way. What I mean by that is, as you can see here, there is a client which sends a request to the server. So earlier, what we would do here is the server will interact with the database and generate the response. So instead of that, what we are doing with the Prisma is our server is using Prisma to interact with our database and generate response. So all the query optimization will be done by the Prisma and overall efficiency of our application will be much improved. Along with this optimization, what Prisma allows us to do is migration. So what I mean by that is, for example, you are using a different database right now. For example, you are using PostgreSQL and in the future you want to switch to MySQL database. So if you are not using Prisma, so you have to change your whole code base, but with the help of Prisma, what you can do is you can just change the name of the provider. As you can see here, this is the basic schema of Prisma. So right now they're using PostgreSQL. So what you could do here is you could just change the name to MySQL, and with that you will be easily able to migrate to a new database. So it's that easy with the help of Prisma, and it saves you a lot of time and development cost. So let's get started. So right now I'm in a new Next.js file, and in order to install Prisma, what I would do here is I would write npm install Prisma. That's it. And it would start the installation of Prisma. So after the installation, what I would do here is I would initialize my Prisma. So for that, I would write npx init Prisma. And also with this, okay, my bad, I have written it incorrectly. It's npx Prisma init. And also with this, you could provide your data source provider. So what I would do here is I would write data source provider SQLite. It's not mandatory. By default, it would use PostgreSQL. For this tutorial, I want to use SQLite. So after initializing your Prisma, what you could see here is you have a Prisma folder. Inside you have schema.prisma. You also have a warning here which says that your git ignore file don't have .env. So I need to add, as you can see, it's tracked here. So to remove that, what I would do here is I would write .env and save. So it would stop tracking my env file. And what we have here is a Prisma schema. In this file, you could see here you have a provider which is SQLite, which I have provided while initializing, and you have a database URL which is in your env file. So what I would like to do now is I would like to create a model, user model. This model will have an ID of type string, and it would be unique, and the default would be UUID function. This function would return us a random unique IDs. What else we could have here is we could have a name of type string, email of type string, and image URL of type string. So this field is optional. Some user will have it, some will not. So for that, I would like to add a question mark, which means this is optional. And other what I would like to have is created at, it would be of type date time, and by default, it would be now. Now function will just add the date at which this model or this field would be created in our database. And one more field is updated at, it would be same date time, and by default, we have an updated add function in our Prisma. So whenever it will be updated, it would automatically update this field. What else I would like to have is a post model post. And this model will have again an ID similar to this. It would have an ID. It would have a created at and updated at. And other than that, it would have a title type string, image type string, and this could be optional again. And you could have a description type string. I mean, this could be optional as well. other than that, we have to map our user to our post. So each user will have a multiple post, but one post will belong to a single user. So it's one-to-many relationship. For that, what I would like to do here is I would create a relation of user of type user, and at relation, the references what field it would reference from user model is the ID, and map that ID to the user ID of this post. So for that, I would create a user ID type string, and it would map this field user ID. I'm still getting an error, which it says that the user table does not have any post field. So I would like to add that. So it would be post, type post, and it would be an array because user can have multiple posts, but a single post will belong to a single user. So as you can see, your basic schema is completed. Now what I would like to do is I would like to push it to my database. So in order to push this schema to my database, first I would like to generate the schema. So for that, I would write npx prisma generate. So it would generate the schema. After it is generated, what I would like to do is npx prisma db push. So it would push our schema to our database. So once it's done, what you could do is you could check your database. For that, you could write npx prisma studio. So it would spin up a port of your database. So as you can see here, you have two models which you have recently created. First is the user model. It have all your table fields. And the second is the post model. So if you want to make any change in your schema or change in your database, what you could do here is you could go back to your schema. And for example, I want to add a field in my user model that is admin. Is admin would be a boolean, and by default it would be false. So to implement this change, what you could do here is you could close your terminal and you could run npx prisma generate. Just wait for it. Yeah, after it is generated, what you have to do is you have to push this schema to your database. So every time you make change in your schema, what you have to do is first you need to generate your schema, then you need to push it to your schema. So if I run my studio again, you will see the changes. So now if you go to the user model, what you could see here is an is admin field here, which was not there earlier. So in order to interact with our database using Prisma, what we have to do here is we need to install Prisma client, which as you can see, I've already done. So for that, you have to write npm install Prisma / client and add at the rate in front of it. So it will install that package for you. So after you have installed this package, what I would like to do is I would like to create a global variable for my Prisma. So for that, I would create a new folder lib in my root directory, and in that I would create a new file database.ts. And in this file, to create a global variable, I need my Prisma client. So Prisma client, and I would declare a global variable Prisma, var Prisma, and the type of this variable would be of Prisma client or undefined. So initially it would be undefined, then it would be of Prisma client. So what I would do is I would export const database. It would be equal to global this. So for Node.js to access your global variable, we have a keyword called global this dot Prisma. So as you can see, it's here, the Prisma you have created in your global variable. So if it is not undefined, then use this, or if it is undefined, then create a new Prisma variable by using new Prisma client. So it would create a new Prisma client and export that. So why are we doing this? Because when we are in a local development, due to hot reload, your browser creates multiple instances of Prisma. So in order to avoid that, we are creating a global Prisma. And we need to do this only when we are in development mode. So for that, I would write if process dot environment dot load environment is not equal to production. So if it's not production, then what you have to do is you have to set your Prisma variable. So for that, I would like global this dot Prisma would be equal to new Prisma client. No, sorry, it would be DB. That's it. You are setting your Prisma global Prisma variable to your database, which you have created here. So now as your global Prisma variable is created, in order to use that, we need to create some APIs. So in Next.js, if you want to create an API, you need to create an API folder. So let me do that, API, and in this, I would create the route in which I have to go. So it would be register first. And by the way, I have created two pages. First is the register page, and second is post page. So register page has this register card. It is a basic form element. As you can see, it has some inputs, some buttons, and a register function with just console logs for now. And same goes for your post page. In this, no, not this one. It's yeah, it's here. Okay, so you can see the create post, same similar thing. It has a console log, prevent default, nothing fancy here, just an input and a button. So in order to create an API, you have to create the API folder, then the route which you have to create, which is register. In this, I would create a new file, route.ts. And in this route, what I would do here is I would create a function, export async function, and the type of request will be post request. Post to take request as a parameter, it would be of type request. Let's wrap this inside a try catch block. And if there is an error, console log the error. And what you have to do is you have to return a response, return new next response, and give it a message like internal error, status 500. And in the try block, what we have to do is we have to extract our name, email, and image URL from our body. So for that, what you have to do is write const email, name, image URL. Just extract these data from request.json, and you have to wait for this. So as it is a promise, it returns a promise, as you can see here. So you need to add a wait here. So after you have all this, you could just add a type check. If no email or no name, then just return a new next response, just saying that all fields are required. I know, just a basic type check, nothing fancy here. And the status would be 401. Should be 400. Yeah. Okay, so after that, what we have to do is in order to create a entry or create a field in our database, the user field, what we could do here is we could use our global Prisma variable, which we have created. So I would use that. So new user be equal to db, the name of that variable or name of the file which we have exported. And now we have to select the schema which we have to work on. So it's user schema. And what we have to do here is we need to create something. So we will use create, and we need to pass in some data. So data would be whatever values you have to give. So name would be name, email would be email. We have image URL, and what else we could add here? We need email. I guess we have all the required fields here. And after that, what I would do here is I would Also, if you want to include all the posts that user have, right now it is an array of IDs. So if you want to include the post data as well, what you could do here is could give it a comma here and you could write include. Well, it's registering, so it won't have it as of now. But in future, if you want to use this feature, what you could do here is you could add include and post, just pass, just write true. So what it would do is whenever you want to fetch this user along with its post, so you could write include and it would include all the posts that user have, not just the IDs. So right now it's just register function, so we don't need it because the user won't have any post. So after creating a new user, what we have to do is we need to return a next response, next response.json, and that I would send my new user. So this is the basic way of creating a user or creating a field in your database using Prisma. So after creating a route, what we could do here is we could, in our register card, we need to send some API request to this route. Before doing that, I found an error. I have to write here await because it's a request. And now I could go to my register card. In this, what I would do here is in order to send the API request, I need Axios. So I would install that npm I Axios. It will start the installation. Once it's done, what you could do here is you could import that. So import Axios from Axios. And what you could do here is const response is equal to await Axios dot post and the URL which you want to hit. So it would be slash API slash register, which you have created. As you can see here, it's slash API, then register. And after that, you need to pass in some data. So it will be name, email, and image URL. So once you have done that, what you could do is you could redirect your user to your home directory. So for that, I'm using use router. Const router is equal to use router. Now, what you could do here is don't import it from next router, import it from next navigation, and just push the user to your home page. So let's test this out. For that, I would write here next gen. Email would be anything, abc@gmail.com, and image would be just image from Unsplash. So if I would hit create, as you can see, we are in create post. To check whether our user is created or not, I would again go to my terminal, spin up a port for my Prisma. So as you can see here, you have a new user created with the name nextgen, mail, image is admin false, 0 post, and all the values. So congratulations for creating your first entry using Prisma. So after creating your first user, you could do the similar process for creating a post and fetching a post. What I want you to do is take it as an assignment, try to implement these functionality by your own. Just I would give you some hint, like if you want to fetch something, you could do this again. I'm showing it here only, const post equal to await. Again, the format of every request would be same, just the database, the variable you have created, then the schema which you want to work on is post. Then what you want to do, you want to fetch, you want to find something, find unique, find first, find many. If you want to fetch all the posts, so you would use find many. And if you want to create, then create. You want to update the post, you could use update. So what I want is you guys should implement these functionality by your own. If you fail to do so, just let me know in the comment section. I would upload the whole project on the GitHub so that you could match your work with my work. So with that said, thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe.